It's Clark and Perry on the case.
Da-na-na-na, Clark and Perry, do what it takes. Da-na-na-na, Clark and Perry, investigate.
The activities and interests of local artists in the Windy City's finest throughout both Lethbridge and Medicine Hat, Alberta. Available on TELUS Optic TV, On Demand, VidFlex, YouTube, and more for limited time only. Terms and conditions apply.
Da-na-na-na.
All right, the next one we have is from Teresa. How did it feel to be in front of the camera and alternatively behind the camera doing your interviews? That's a good one.
Yeah. I feel like pretty comfortable. I don't know if it came across that way. You know what I mean? But like pretty comfortable. I think there's definitely been times, obviously, behind the camera, there's tech difficulties. There's like stress there sometimes. But also really engaging, getting to, you know, see you interview somebody and do the things and stuff. So yeah, and then in front of the camera, my biggest thing again was just that people process product. So it's really trying to put my energy and focus on that person to make sure that they're comfortable, or as comfortable as they can be, right? Yeah. Sharing something that they do that could be very intimate, right? And just trying to do that justice, them justice. Yeah. So as comfortable as I can be in order to do that. So, or even if I was uncomfortable, knowing that my job is to make this person comfortable as much as I can. And so just, you know, trying to focus on that basically, and find a comfort in that, I guess. Yeah.
Get prepared on set with your subject, and not only just invite a space of welcome and inclusivity, but also get you in a comfortable headspace so that you can also be yourself.
Totally.
Yeah, it would be quite apparent if we were very like stiff
and
awkward, right?
Yeah, totally.
People would think something is wrong with us.
Totally. They might already, but you know.
No, they don't. Not yet. Okay. Excellent. All right. Before we get too late here, so we have another question here. What was your most favorite part of this interview process? And did you see any noticeable differences between Medicine Hat and Lethbridge that surprised you? That's a two-part. Let's focus on the first one.
Okay.
What was your most favorite part of this interview process?
Favorite part of this interview process? Yeah, like I guess you kind of spoke to like that idea of networking with people, and so like if I were to try like something other than that, because I'm pretty sure I spoke to this a bit earlier, but that idea of you have that reason to go out and do that thing and talk with somebody and do something together and spend that time together. So like, again, maybe it would just be reiterating that's kind of been one of my favorite parts about it, is like, just getting to meet people, and because I would not have reached out to probably any of these people. Yeah. At all.
Wouldn't have thought to without this project, without this purpose, right? Yeah, no.
And even more valuable, I think, on that is that idea that it's, you know, for them in many ways, right? It's to try and showcase them and what they do. So, yeah.
Oh, that's great. And then the second part to that question, did you see any noticeable differences between the Medicine Hat and Lethbridge interviews that surprised you?
I mean, both cities are absolutely fantastic, very welcoming, and I think there's something more like intrinsically, as far as the fact that, you know, we had to drive to and fro Medicine Hat. And so I think there's something about that like lineal space, if that's the right word, that driving puts you in, where you know you have to do something at, you know, we were oftentimes, it was like, okay, 7 p.m. is when we're going to get there and hopefully start. But there's like a whole 2 hours basically where we're just like in a vehicle together, just listening to music, talking about the project, talking about it, but you're not really doing anything. And so like that part of the process of going to Medicine Hat, I sincerely hope that didn't, the fatigue that kind of puts on you, because it is tiring doing that traveling, I find. I hope that didn't, rub off on the folks in Medicine Hat. Like, I hope we were still able, or myself at least, able to come across energetic and still do them justice, like, and that be time well spent when we were there. So yeah, not really, it's not like one city is better than the other, but I think just that idea of traveling and
yeah, it was kind of a different get ready process.
Yeah.
And I mean, for us, like, we're pretty comfortable here in Lethbridge because,
exactly.
I mean, we know a lot of folks. We're involved in the community here, and there's a different, I guess there's a different atmosphere, I think, we initially have with our interviewers.
Totally.
Or interviewees, I should say.
Yeah.
Versus the folks in Medicine Hat. Yeah. Because, again, it was a lot of cold calling and, random emails that we would just send out.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I think that's a good point. Interesting comment to make as well too.
Yeah. And yeah, you kind of nailed it on the head there with that idea of, we really didn't know very many people in Medicine Hat. And so that's also a thing to overcome. And people were fantastically, welcomed us with open arms, and like that feels amazing, right? And even like, I mean, Teresa has asked this question, right? Letting us in their home, in their home studio, like feeding us, like doing cooking together, like incredible. Like, thank you.
3-point dog.
3-point dog. So yeah, like that's a really amazing feeling and experience, I think.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, very rewarding. Excellent. All right, moving on to some Jordan Payne questions. So similar as to before, what has been the most challenging part of the process / the most rewarding?
I think.
Oh, that was a pain to giggle.
No,
all right.
No.
Okay, the truth is revealed.
No, the nature of this program has been very intense. That's like the nature of it, right?
Very intense. I agree.
We've said it several times, and it's like, that idea of so thankful to be doing it with you, and hopefully vice versa. But whatever, yeah.
In it to win it.
In it to win it, and just but it's hard. Like, it's hard, and it really puts into perspective, like, larger operations. Like, when you think about like a feature length film, and getting all these people together, and like just schedules and stuff like that. Like, it's crazy, and
it's a lot to think about.
It's a lot to think about, and
prepare and orchestrate, and, and execute, and then in post as well.
Yeah, and so it's like, for all the time that we spent with people in person, there's probably at least the same amount of time, if not maybe more, especially between the before and after. Especially, in Medicine Hat, driving to and from, like, that is time, that sure, we may just be sitting there listening to music or whatever, but we wouldn't be doing that, honestly, if it weren't for this program. And so like that in general is being the most challenging part of it, but also the most rewarding, because of what we've been able to get from it, and the experiences that we've had. And I can see you smirking.
Some inside jokes as well in between. It's definitely built our relationship, and I think helped kind of develop our shape and vision for the project. And it's been very intense. Lots of challenges.
But like I so grateful for it, and for you and everything you've brought to the table, and because we've hit these hurdles during this program, and I feel like we've kind of overcome them fairly well together, if I may say so myself.
Thank you, Perry. The feeling is mutual. Absolutely.
So
perfect. The next question is if you could do something differently, what would you, and what would that... I read that wrong. I have the script in front of me, and I can't read the script. If you could do something differently, would you? And what would that be?
I think, yeah, you kind of spoke to like maybe the editing, maybe if we
Yeah.
had more time to like delve into that. Other than that, I think, there's that idea of, marketing yourself,
Oh,
as an
yeah.
artist,
You see,
yeah.
that was on my low priority list.
And so, this program's been phenomenal because, it's forced us to, there are certain things that you have to hit, and then other things are optional.
Mhm.
Obviously, there's value in them,
Yeah.
right? And so it's that idea of prioritizing things
Mhm.
has been really valuable. But I think, yeah, if there were one thing, like it would be that idea of like social media, or if it isn't social media, it's just, yeah, how do you market this thing? Like, how do you share it? How do you get the word out about it?
Mhm.
And yeah, like as an artist, as an art, like that's a huge thing, right? In this industry, like it's a huge thing. So, um, yeah, so very happy to have had the chance to do it. Um, but yeah, if I had more time or energy to put into something, it would definitely be that like marketing of it. And yeah, just how do you
Let
do that?
more people know
Yeah,
about the lovely people that we've had the chance to interview
yeah,
and ourselves.
yeah. And just like, and why should they watch it,
Yeah.
and all of that kind of stuff of just
Yeah.
like, yeah, what gets people's attention and why? And is it
Mhm.
important? Is it,
Mhm.
I don't know.
No, that's great. Is there anything you've encountered during this process that you would want to explore more?
Um, yeah, like I as far as like the disciplines that we were able to kind of dive into, or
Yeah.
people showed us, like I think blacksmithing and pottery would be awesome. Um, uh, all of it. Like again, it just comes down to time and how you spend your time, right? Like
Mhm.
paddleboarding, illustrating, painting. Like
Yeah.
I would love to do that. Like I would, but it's just how do you spend your time? And so anything in this. Can you read it one more time? Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything you've encountered during this process that you would want to explore more?
Honestly, like just the actually doing it, like doing what we've been doing, and like
Yeah.
setting up a meeting with somebody and asking them some questions, but like showcasing their process
Mhm.
and then their art, and
Yeah.
like that is genuinely like there's a pull to do that. And yeah, I would love to keep doing this, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah, you know like literally, yeah, just setting up time to uh, spending that time with people, setting that up, and facilitating that. And yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Mhm.
Excellent. We got some bonus questions as well too.
Sure.
We can dive into these a little bit.
Totally.
What is something that you learned about yourself through doing this project? I can't read.
Oh,
What is something that you learned about yourself through doing this project?
Something that I learned about myself through doing this project.
That was really tough for me.
Yeah,
So
you're doing great.
take her away, Perry.
Take her away.
I apparently got the hard job over here.
Something that I learned about myself. I can be very meticulous, like almost to a fault. Like I can kind of get in my own way sometimes with how detail oriented I can get. That
You were
it's
getting
almost
mad.
just not helpful.
Yeah, you were getting mad at your dishwasher for making noises before we shot this.
Yes.
I was like, it's your home. Just let it be your home.
Yeah.
It was fun, but yeah.
And I think that part of that comes from that sports background of I want to do the best I can, right? And I think that that's really important to have. So
absolutely,
I'm grateful for it. But I do think that being able to like cut myself some slack, because inevitably, and I've experienced it, you burn out, like you just burn out. And I think it was Corley that spoke to that idea of burnout and this metaphor of it being a wound, and that once you have that wound, you can heal it, but it's that much easier to reopen, or to re-engineer.
Right.
I think Corley spoke to that, and I yeah, that's been on my mind quite a bit, you know, and especially in this industry where you have to be go go go, and you have to, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
and that idea of taking care of yourself
is so much more important, especially
Yeah.
if that's going to get easier and easier
Yeah.
to burn out too.
exactly. And so yeah, and so you know, and as just a human being, like you gotta take care of yourself, and
Yeah.
especially if you want to take care of others, you know, you have to take care of yourself in some way, shape, or form. And so maybe I gotta spin that meticulousness on myself and spend that time on myself and stuff like that. So
Absolutely. At what age did you know you wanted to study fine arts, acting in particular?
I think it was probably after my family and I moved to Canada, like that I wanted to like study it specifically. And I think it was a mixture of like my parents really wanted me to go to university to get like a secondary, you know, education and keep going, and I was a bit stubborn and maybe a bit spoiled, but I was like, well, then I want it to be this, like something that I really wanted to do.
Yeah.
And throughout high school, I was fortunate enough, like my teacher, Mrs. McIntyre, Robin, like I was fortunate enough to come across theater and storytelling and just be introduced to that from sports, a sports background, no less. Like, and yeah, just how she made it so approachable, and that it was a team effort. It's like a team sport or thing, which I think gets lost maybe sometimes. I think people, they see a star and they're like, oh, it's all on them. And yes, like they have a large role where they're literally acting, like sure, like, you know, but there's an insane amount of people behind the scenes that you do not see. You
and
probably
even in
don't
the scenes, like
and
doing
even in the
ensemble
scenes,
as well.
ensemble, right? And especially in film and even behind the stage. But in film, there's so many people, you probably don't even read their names and the credits. I'm guilty of that. I walk out of a movie theater before reading all the credits, right? It's not that I'm gonna read every single person's name, but it's really interesting when you like see somebody's name, and it just, I don't know, I find it fascinating to do that.
You should do credits with pictures,
right?
Shots,
yeah,
or something like that.
yeah,
just
like
to
a
kind
yearbook
of show.
kind of thing.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I always imagine like those big pictures of like the single person's face, but it's made of a billion other photos.
Literally, yeah, and that's a film, like that's it, you know. And then theater, if you go to theater, which I would highly encourage you do, but if you go to theater, do you read the program? Do you look at who the stage manager is, who the technicians are, like who the designers are, you know, that are probably they're on to the next project? Like, I don't know. I forget what the question was, but
yeah, me too. That's okay. No. That was a good response. And then I guess the last question I got here for you is, what has been the most impactful part of doing the interviews?
Most impactful part of doing the interviews.
This one really made me think.
Yeah.
I enjoyed answering this one.
Yeah, because how do you define impactful? But I think for me, like, there is something in that idea of like I'm trying to find the words to put it together, but what made it impactful for me was, you know, trying to showcase somebody and their work, and just like, how do you do that? Like, I don't know, because in the same way that there's a million different ways to say the same sentence, for example, like there's a million different ways to interview somebody, showcase their work, but you know, what do you prioritize? Because we could have prioritized the product, and we could have, you know, been very factual and like, you know, what do we need to know? Or the route we went was very casual and conversational, and trying to make them comfortable and maybe putting them first, and hopefully everybody felt comfortable enough to share,
Yeah.
because I think that gives their best work, and gives you room to be uncomfortable, but it's like a choice, right? It's not forced. It's not like, okay, now show us your artwork that's super vulnerable and personal, and no, it's like, how do you ease into that process? And I don't know. So, like, I don't know. Hopefully, I think the way I'm interpreting that question is, hopefully that came across and is impactful. Like, that people felt taken care of in some way, shape, or form.
Not necessarily placing a value on the artwork itself or what we were doing, but showing it off as a process and explaining what each individual gets out of it. Right?
Totally, yeah. And like even...
And hopefully other people who might have a similar need are able to find something that they might enjoy.
Yeah, and even for ourselves and, the episodes that we've made, not focusing on that final episode that has to look a certain way and include certain things. Like, yes, we had some framework because that's really important, I think.
Yeah.
But not, getting neurotic about that.
Yeah.
And just, and just, it's going to be different because art is made by people and people are different. And I honestly, like, the production with Eric Rose and Struck and Ghost River Theatre, like, one of the things I kind of got from that process was this idea that, if art is life and life is messy, then art should be messy.
Yeah.
Right? And so, but it is a curated thing. Art is curated. Like, you curate it, right? You make specific decisions to get a certain thing.
To get the atmosphere and the emotion you're trying to convey.
That you're trying to convey.
Over what could have been over the course of a very long, extended period, now condensed into one moment.
Yeah.
With people.
Totally. Like, and, it's fascinating in different disciplines. Like pottery, for example, I literally made a pot and it broke the first time, right?
Yeah.
Like, it broke. And so, but if you were to see that pot now, and I really wish we had it, but if you were to see that pot, you wouldn't know that. You wouldn't know that failure or that story, right? And so, like, and that happens in everything. And so, like, these episodes even, right? It's like people don't know the full picture. It's that idea of making a piece of theater, the audience, whoever's seeing it, that you only see a certain aspect of it. And in theater and film, it's like that idea that it's like 95% of the work you do, people don't see, but it's in what they do see.
Yeah.
In the pot that you make, there's like hours that goes into it. People don't see those hours, but they see the pot, and you put that time and energy into it. I don't know.
You know what I think that people are going to really take away
what?
from us?
What? What? What are people going to take away? What should they take away?
It's Clark and Perry
on the case.
Da-na-na-na. Clark and Perry do what it takes. Da-na-na-na. Clark and Perry investigate. That is going to be stuck in my head for millennia.
Absolutely.
I hope it is for you folks too.
Yes.
Thank you to everybody who has been a viewer, has participated, has hosted our series thus far. It has been a very rewarding season. For folks out there, don't be a stranger. We're out and about. We're always busy. So. Any closing remarks you got there, Perry?
I don't think so, other than this is the Windy City's finest. He's Clark. I'm Perry. Thank you so much, everybody. Bye.
It's Clark and Perry on the case.
Da-na-na-na. Clark and Perry do what it takes. Da-na-na-na. Clark and Perry investigate.
The activities and interests of local artists in the Windy City's finest throughout both Lethbridge and Medicine Hat, Alberta. Available on TELUS Optic TV on demand, VidFlex, YouTube, and more for limited time only. Terms and conditions apply.
Da-na-na-na.